Birmingham City currently operates under a management model that leaves little room for prolonged patience. The American leadership group, led by Tom Wagner, has been explicit about the direction they expect the club to follow and the level of performance required to support that vision. Promotion ambitions have been clearly stated from the outset, and the scale of recruitment since the League One campaign reflects that intent. The arrival of Dyche Stansfield marked a new phase of investment that immediately drew attention across English football. Within that framework, finishing mid-table in the Championship might be acceptable for many newly promoted teams. At St Andrews, however, such an outcome falls short of the strategic objective outlined by ownership. This reality inevitably places Chris Davies under closer scrutiny. His record-breaking League One season created a strong foundation and earned him significant credit inside the club. Yet the financial investment that followed promotion has raised expectations of what success now looks like. Spending brings responsibility, and the assumption behind that investment is that Birmingham should be aggressively competing for a place in the Premier League. Davies remains in charge with many fixtures still to play, and supporters remain divided on whether he is the right manager to guide the next stage of the project. Regardless, the pressure surrounding the role is constant. For Tom Wagner, the responsibility extends beyond the present moment. Leadership in modern football requires preparation for every possible scenario, including the possibility of a managerial change. The ambition to reach the Premier League is non-negotiable within the board's long-term strategy. That reality forces Wagner to evaluate whether the current manager remains the best figure to deliver promotion or whether another coach could accelerate the process. Davies' achievements are acknowledged, but the ownership group has consistently demonstrated that long-term objectives outweigh sentiment. One name that naturally appears in this discussion is Sean Dyche. Currently without a club, Dyche has an established record in the Championship, having secured promotion with Burnley on 2 occasions. His work at Turf Moor built a reputation for organisation, resilience and competitive discipline, qualities that eventually helped Burnley establish themselves as a stable Premier League side for several seasons. From Birmingham's perspective, that experience aligns with the practical challenge of moving from promotion contenders to a club capable of sustaining its position in the top tier. However, persuading Dyche to return to the Championship may prove difficult. His Premier League experience places him among managers who may prefer opportunities at that level. Even so, Birmingham's project could hold appeal. The resources already invested in the squad suggest a willingness to support a manager with the tools required to shape the team according to his philosophy. Dyche's football has not always prioritised aesthetics, but his record shows consistent success when navigating the demands of a promotion race. Another name linked with the role is Svensson, who established a strong reputation in Germany during his time at Mainz. His tenure began with the urgent task of keeping the club in the Bundesliga against considerable odds, a challenge he successfully met. He then guided Mainz to 2 consecutive top-half finishes and qualification for European competition. Although a brief spell at Union Berlin failed to replicate those achievements, Svensson remains widely respected as a tactically organised and progressive coach. Teams managed by Svensson are typically characterised by high energy and proactive play. At Birmingham, such an approach could translate into a dynamic style capable of energising supporters while aligning with the club's ambitions. Interest previously shown by clubs such as Leeds United and Wolverhampton Wanderers highlights the regard for his work, which again raises the question of whether he would consider a Championship project. Nonetheless, the scale of Birmingham's investment and the long-term redevelopment plans around St Andrews could make the role an appealing opportunity. Perhaps the most unexpected candidate mentioned in connection with the job is Jens Berthel Askew. In Scotland, much of the national attention has focused on attempts by clubs such as Hearts to challenge the traditional dominance at the top of the table. Yet Motherwell's 2025/26 campaign has emerged as one of the most remarkable stories in the country. Askew inherited a team that had finished 8th the previous season and quickly transformed it into a side capable of competing near the summit of the Scottish Premiership. Motherwell's rise has been built around an attractive possession-based style that has raised performance levels throughout the squad. Operating with relatively modest resources, Jens Berthel Askew has produced one of the most watchable teams in Scotland. That transformation points to a coach capable of maximising the potential of his players, an attribute that could prove especially valuable if applied to Birmingham's more expensive and higher quality squad. If Askew were to arrive at St Andrews, implementing his approach would require time and support. His tactical ideas rely on structure, control and patience, but the ownership group has already shown a willingness to invest in long-term development. With stronger individual players available, the prospect of Askew applying his philosophy at Birmingham creates an intriguing possibility. Ultimately, the responsibility lies with Tom Wagner to ensure that leadership decisions remain aligned with the club's broader strategic ambition. Preparing for multiple scenarios is part of that role. Whether the solution ultimately lies with Dyche's proven promotion record, Svensson's energetic tactical model, or Askew's possession-driven transformation, the decision will revolve around a single central question: which managerial profile best matches Birmingham City's objective of reaching the Premier League and sustaining success once they arrive there?